for.
They're petrified
Yeah.
of some kind of backlash. I mean, you see with Disney now. I mean, Disney, one of the most gay-friendly companies.
Hollywood's biggest disaster of the year isn't a box office bomb. It's what happened behind the scenes of Disney's latest live-action remake. When Joe Rogan dedicated an entire segment to unpacking the chaos surrounding Rachel Zegler, Disney's troubled Snow White adaptation, and the explosive fallout that followed, he exposed a perfect storm of corporate panic, creative missteps, and an actor's refusal to stay on script. What started as a promising project quickly spiraled into one of the most talked about controversies in recent memory.
With Snow White, let's go through this, right? There's no prince. A woman doesn't need a prince.
Oh, Lord.
Really? Okay, good luck back then.
Rachel Zegler was meant to be the fresh face who could breathe new life into a classic tale while maintaining enough reverence to please longtime fans. Instead, she became the lightning rod for a firestorm that caught Disney completely off guard and sent executives scrambling for damage control.
Not surrounded by 7 weird people. Oh, okay, just CGI fictional goblins, I guess.
The situation reached its breaking point during what should have been a routine appearance on The View. According to multiple reports, Zegler arrived on set determined to speak her mind about political issues that directly contradicted Disney's carefully crafted messaging. What happened next shocked everyone. Producers allegedly tried to rein her in with approved talking points, only to face her firm refusal. The situation escalated so dramatically that she was removed from the set before the segment could even begin filming. Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and Sunny Hostin found themselves in the awkward position of having to fill airtime when their scheduled guest never made it on camera.
And I get it, there's a difference between spoiling and whatever, but to go out and badmouth everybody and talk smack about, older movies in the same franchise, the canon story, I guess?
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. I feel like they would have had better control over that.
This wasn't just another celebrity interview gone wrong. It represented a catastrophic breakdown in Disney's PR machine. For a company that built its empire on meticulous image control, having your lead actor escorted off a daytime talk show set is unprecedented. The meltdown didn't just stay contained to the View's studio. Eyewitness accounts spread across social media within minutes, transforming a private disagreement into very public spectacle. Bob Iger, Disney's CEO, known for his hands-on approach and keen understanding of brand management, appeared genuinely rattled by how quickly the situation deteriorated.
This girl took the money and then decided that she wanted to go out there. And you know what? I'm going to take my stand. Well, you should have made that stand before you took the money to promote a film, because that's not in line with your job description.
Right.
The typical Disney playbook, scheduling controlled interviews on friendly platforms and relying on established media relationships, completely backfired. Instead of calming the waters, their attempts at damage control only seemed to intensify public scrutiny and fan outrage. What made this controversy particularly explosive was how it intersected with fan expectations. From the earliest announcements, Disney's decision to make substantial changes to the original Snow White story had already put many longtime fans on edge. When Zegler began making statements in interviews and on social media that seemed dismissive of the classic tale's themes, it confirmed every fear these fans had about the adaptation's direction. Her outspoken nature might have been refreshing in another context, but combined with a drastically altered version of a beloved story, it created the perfect conditions for backlash.
This is their policies coming back to bite them. They went woke.
Yeah.
She went out and said stuff woke that was going to hurt the film. They couldn't come out and go against her, because then you're going after somebody for saying what you say you believe.
Gal Gadot's involvement in the project added another layer of complexity. Initially positioned as a major draw for the film, Gadot's presence faded into the background as the Zegler controversy grew. Rumors of tension between the two stars began circulating, with some suggesting that Zegler had criticized Gadot's political views. While these rumors remained unconfirmed, their very existence highlighted the fractured atmosphere surrounding the production. What could have been a powerful promotional partnership instead became another missed opportunity. The fallout wasn't limited to the canceled View appearance. Reports emerged of discord within Disney's extended corporate family, with some insiders allegedly taking to social media to critique Zegler's stance.
But at the same time, I think going forward, they're going to be like, hey, shut up.
Yeah.
Tight-lipped. Otherwise, guess what? We're clawing back some money.
Yeah. This would have been a lot better if they, had a strong male along with her, a prince.
One particular particularly jarring incident involved a Disney producer's son posting disparaging remarks about her, a clear sign that the usual unified front had completely collapsed. For Zegler, this likely reinforced her suspicion that the studio was more concerned with silencing her than understanding her perspective. As the controversy grew, Zegler found herself labeled as box office poison in some corners of the internet. Critics attributed multiple financial disappointments to her involvement, though Rogan questioned whether this assessment was fair or simply overlooked deeper issues with how the adaptation was conceived and marketed. Regardless, the stigma threatens to follow her career unless she can successfully distance herself from this particular fiasco.
I think they could have done all that woke shit. You want to call woke? They could have done all that still. And as long as she had gone out and been like, well, we just have a different story. I like the old story, but we're doing a different one.
What makes this situation so fascinating is how it reveals the new reality of entertainment promotion in the age of social media. In the time it takes for a producer to attempt damage control on a live set, millions of people can be discussing the behind-the-scenes drama online. Disney found itself perpetually playing catch-up, unable to control a narrative that evolved by the minute. This velocity of information exchange meant that every misstep was magnified, creating a snowball effect that became impossible to stop.
Sometimes it's used too liberally. That said, our primary purpose is to entertain, and where we can entertain responsibly, obviously we try to do that. We try to have a positive impact on the world, but the first thing we need to do is entertain.
Perhaps the most damning aspect of the whole affair was how it completely overshadowed any discussion of the film's actual content. Some viewers who managed to see the adaptation believed it had genuine merits, innovative visuals, impressive performances, or compelling modern twists. But these potential talking points were buried beneath an avalanche of commentary about Zegler's public statements and Disney's failed attempts at damage control. The contrast between Gadot's and Zegler's approaches in the aftermath is particularly telling. While Gadot maintained a low profile, rarely addressing the controversy except in routine promotional statements, Zegler remained highly visible and outspoken. Rogan suggested that Gadot's silence might have been the wiser strategy, allowing her to come across as professional while avoiding further inflammation of the situation.
And then they couldn't put dwarfs because this is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
For Disney, the entire fiasco serves as a cautionary tale. The studio will likely continue making live-action remakes of its classic properties, but this experience may push them toward more conservative approaches. Bob Iger and his team might implement stricter guidelines for how stars engage with the press and social media. However, as Rogan warned, such top-down control risks sparking new controversies if performers feel silenced or constrained. The fundamental tension exposed by this meltdown between a corporation determined to protect its intellectual property and a rising star determined to use her platform authentically highlights a broader challenge in modern entertainment. Actors must balance personal conviction with professional obligations, especially when attached to big-budget projects that rely on carefully cultivated brands. In this case, that balance was never achieved, resulting in a spectacular collision that left both parties damaged. This standoff ultimately trapped Zegler between her desire to assert her autonomy and Disney's insistence that her outspokenness was hurting their bottom line. While Rogan expressed sympathy for any performer who wants to speak honestly rather than recite corporate-approved statements, he also acknowledged the studio's perspective. When an actor steers conversations into polarizing territory during a high-stakes press tour, the financial consequences can be devastating.
The controversies surrounding Disney's Snow White remake show that we are still in the thick of the culture wars. Oh, have we been following the Snow White?
Actually, the first time hearing of this.
The irony is that all this negative publicity might force Disney to release the film on streaming platforms earlier than planned, effectively admitting defeat. Rather than continuing to pour resources into a fruitless promotional campaign, the studio might prefer to quickly pivot, release the film online, and allow it to fade from public consciousness. But the lessons from this debacle will likely influence how the company approaches future remakes for years to come. In the court of public opinion, once a film's branding is tarnished, rehabilitation becomes nearly impossible. The meltdown on The View, with its swirling rumors and real-time revelations, effectively sealed the film's fate. Whether fair or not to everyone involved, the result remains the same: a heavily hyped remake collapsed under the weight of controversies, culminating in an unprecedented public relations disaster.
Oh, and there's seven dwarf jobs here, but because I think it was Peter Dinklage said this is, this is not right. This is demeaning, and they were like, "What? We just want to work. We're dwarves." So, ho, ho, ho.
What this story ultimately tells us is that authenticity, or the perception of it, matters more than ever. Fans will not automatically accept major changes to beloved stories, nor will they passively consume promotional messaging that feels contrived. When a lead actor breaks rank with the studio's carefully crafted narrative, especially in today's hyper-connected media environment, the resulting conflagration can quickly consume even the most meticulously planned marketing campaign. The Snow White adaptation, once viewed as a guaranteed success based on name recognition alone, now stands as a stark reminder of how quickly a project can implode when creative decisions clash with an actor's willingness to speak her mind. In Hollywood's ever-evolving landscape, this meltdown might well become the new benchmark for how spectacularly a beloved brand can self-destruct when all the warning signs are ignored until it's too late.